Welcome to the podcast Human Relationships. Ανθρώπων σχέσεις. Hello and welcome. I'm Ioannis Soteropoulos and this is Ανθρώπων σχέσεις. Human Relationships. Here we explore the psychology of relationships, the pressures of modern life, and how we can connect in a more meaningful way with ourselves and with other people, with poetry as our starting point. Hello and welcome to another episode of Human Relationships. Today we're going to talk about something that sounds paradoxical but is more relevant than ever. Loneliness in an era when we're supposedly more connected than ever before. We live in the age of social media, dating apps, and video calls. We can speak to someone on the other side of the world in seconds, watch our friends' lives unfold in real time, and share everyday moments with thousands of people. And yet, rarely in human history have so many people described such a deep sense of loneliness. So, why is this happening? Is technology a tool that truly brings us together, or a powerful illusion that can end up pushing us even further apart? In this episode, we will explore loneliness from different angles: psychological, social, and scientific. We will look at how loneliness affects our relationships and how poetry captures loneliness in ways psychology sometimes cannot. And of course, I'll share practical strategies that can help us find our way back to real human connection. Let's explore it together. Loneliness, a global phenomenon. Loneliness isn't just a private feeling. Increasingly, it's treated as a public health issue. Research shows loneliness can affect both mental and physical health. For example, a 2021 report from Harvard Graduate School of Education's Making Caring Common project found that 36% of adults in the United States reported serious loneliness, and that figure rose to 61% among young adults aged 18 to 25. In the United Kingdom, the government created a ministerial lead on loneliness in 2018, reflecting how social isolation had become a national concern. And in Japan, the phenomenon of hikikomori, people who withdraw from society for long periods, has been recognized as a major social issue. A Cabinet Office survey estimated around 1.46 million people aged 15 to 64 could be living in hikikomori. Technology is supposed to bring us closer, but often it creates a sense of connection without the depth of real contact. We might like a friend's post, but when was the last time we had a meaningful conversation with them? Many experts distinguish between social isolation, being objectively alone, and loneliness, the subjective feeling that our relationships are not as close or meaningful as we need. You can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. A key point from recent public health work. In 2023, the US Surgeon General described loneliness and social isolation as an epidemic with serious health consequences. And in 2025, the World Health Organization's Commission on Social Connection released a major report calling loneliness and social isolation a defining challenge of our time. The illusion of connection. How social media can give us the feeling that we belong while not meeting the deeper need for intimacy, trust, and emotional safety. The phenomenon of doom scrolling, endlessly consuming feeds and headlines with little or no genuine interaction. Unreal comparisons. Curated, filtered lives can intensify anxiety, envy, and a sense of inadequacy, which can feed loneliness rather than relieve it. Another dimension is the biology of loneliness. Our brains and bodies are designed for face to face interaction. Voice tone, eye contact, micro expressions, touch, shared attention. These cues help regulate the nervous system and support bonding. When interaction happens mainly through screens, we can stay in contact yet still feel emotionally disconnected. Because loneliness doesn't only mean being single, it can exist inside friendships, families, and even long term relationships. Loneliness in relationships. How does it affect modern relationships? One of the most painful forms of loneliness is the loneliness we feel inside our own relationships. Many people are in relationships or marriages and still feel lonely because communication has become shallow, routine, or purely functional. Sometimes we end up in habit relationships, habitual ones. We share a home, schedules, obligations, but not emotional intimacy. Another paradox appears in online dating. Dating apps can offer endless opportunities to meet people, yet the overload of choice can create a culture of superficial connection. Ghosting, suddenly disappearing from communication, has become so common that some people treat it as normal, even though it can intensify insecurity and emotional distrust. And then there is silent loneliness. You can be among friends or family and still feel invisible, misunderstood, or not truly accepted. Often, the absence of honest, meaningful conversations leads to emotional distance. Let's go a bit deeper. The numbers. What does research say? Cigna's 2020 Loneliness Report, based on surveys conducted in 2018 to 2019, found that around 3 in 5 Americans, that's 61%, reported feeling lonely, up from 54% in 2018. The Harvard Graduate School of Education report in 2021 found 36% of Americans experience serious loneliness, including 61% of young adults aged 18 to 25. In Europe, Eurofund survey data analyzed by the EU Joint Research Centre reported that about 1 in 4 EU citizens felt lonely most of the time during the early months of the pandemic, more than double the levels reported in 2016. The conclusion? Loneliness is not only an individual experience, it's a widespread social reality. Social media and the connectivity paradox. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook can create the illusion of communication, but in practice, first, people often present carefully filtered versions of their lives, which can intensify feelings of inadequacy. And second, we replace real contact with surface-level likes, reactions, and emojis. According to a study published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology in 2018, limiting social media use to around 30 minutes per day was associated with significant reductions in loneliness and depression over a short intervention period. And the question is, could the need to be constantly present online be taking away our capacity for authentic connection offline? And here comes the psychological drivers of modern loneliness. First, loss of authentic relationships. The more we rely on screens, the less we invest in face-to-face interactions. Second, the culture of busyness. Modern life often tells us we must be constantly productive, pushing relationships into second place. And third, fear of vulnerability. Many people avoid meaningful connection because they fear rejection, exposure, or emotional pain. And the thought is, loneliness is not simply the absence of people around us. It is the absence of real connection. Let's now see some solutions and practices to reduce loneliness. A. Real social connection. The importance of deeper conversations rather than quick message exchanges. Active listening. Genuinely listening to the other person reduces loneliness because it creates felt connection, not just contact. And practical idea. Choose one person this week and set up a real conversation. Not a "how are you" text, but a voice note, a call, or a walk together. B. Digital detox and reconnecting with real life. 30 to 60 minutes without screens every day, ideally at the same time, for example, the first hour after waking up or the hour before bed. Also, schedule in-person meetings instead of relying on online chats. And make your online use more intentional. More direct messages and meaningful interactions, less passive scrolling. And C, the value of contribution. Volunteering and community involvement create a sense of purpose that protects against loneliness. Also, small acts matter too. Helping a neighbor, joining a local group, participating in a class, or offering support to someone else. And gratitude shifts our attention from what is missing to what is present, and that can change our psychology over time. And now, let's move into the poetry section. For today's episode on loneliness, I prepared two poems from two Greek male poets, Yannis Ritsos and Dinos Christianopoulos. And you're going to hear two of the short poems related to our topic today. The poems you're going to hear one by one with a short analysis are translated from the original Greek to English by myself. Loneliness. Yannis Ritsos. Loneliness, he said, sits behind our voice. It sits behind the kiss, behind the oath, like the darkness of a room behind the window pane, like the snake behind the stone, like a little beyond love, repentance. In this poem, Ritsos presents loneliness as an invisible yet ever-present force behind our words and emotions. Loneliness sits behind our voice, suggesting that even when we communicate, something inside can remain isolated. The images of a dark room behind the glass and a snake behind the stone intensify the sense of hidden threat and inner tension. Finally, linking loneliness to the repentance that follows love hints at the isolation that can arrive even after moments of passion and connection. And now, the poem by Dinos Christianopoulos titled Accounting of Loneliness. Broken within me images of response, a ruin inside strangers' embraces, a desperate hanging on to foreign hips. Broken within me images of response, a ruin inside strangers' embraces, a desperate hanging on to foreign hips, a fall to where only loneliness leads, to submit even my spirit, to offer it as the final surrender. In this poem, Christianopoulos explores the inner fragmentation that loneliness can create. The broken images of response point to failed attempts at connection, while the ruin inside strangers' embraces suggests that emptiness can remain even after physical closeness. The desperate search for intimacy ends in a fall that loneliness imposes. The climax comes with the submission of the spirit, a gesture of despair, where the person offers themselves completely in the hope of being accepted, even if it costs them their sense of self. These two poems highlight the depth and complexity of loneliness, and I love it. It can exist behind words, inside intimacy, and even in the aftermath of love. So, what do you think? Here are the questions for you. What does loneliness mean to you? And when do you feel it most strongly? At night? At work? In relationships? Or even in crowds? Closing this episode, I want to highlight that loneliness in the age of connectivity is a complex issue shaped by technology, personal choices, and social structures. Despite the feeling of constant communication, meaningful connection requires time, effort, and presence. The solution is not to reject technology, but to use it in ways that strengthen real human contact. Poetry, art, honest communication, and awareness of our emotions can become bridges that bring us closer to one another. Maybe it's time to give more value to real relationships, to real connections. Don't forget to question yourself, when was the last time you felt genuinely connected to someone? I'm really looking forward to your thoughts on Instagram or in the comments below. And if this episode helped you, share it with someone who might need it. Until next time, take care and connect for real.